elimination tournament. So with that said, excited to be here, of course, joined by Minnie as always. Minnie, how's it going?
Hey man, yeah, I'm doing good, and I'm really looking forward to this matchup as well. We haven't seen too much of Mint, obviously, since the playoff grand final, so it's good to sort of see him here, and I'm looking forward to what they can bring today, Roki.
Yeah, this definitely it should be interesting. Yeah, we talked about Mint, and in the group stages, they actually looked pretty impressive. Now they did have the loss to, I believe it was Team Who, so that definitely caught us off guard a little bit. But overall, I guess in the rematch against now known as BMG, they really took it to them. So going to be curious to see again what they bring to the table here in this matchup. But Nullstone Gaming on the other side of the spectrum, they squeaked through that Group A. They finished with a 2-1 record, or they finished with 1-2, excuse me. But they actually had the tiebreaker advantage, so that's why they are here again over the likes of Reason Gaming, especially. So excited to see always America representing. That's always a good thing, at least for me, and I'm sure fans out there as well. So in a little bit later match here. This being about a 4 p.m. Eastern start, 2100 Central European time for the weekday match. So, perhaps to the Americans' advantage in that sense. But no, I'm sure not necessarily going to play a big role here. Anyways, I'm rambling on. We got plenty to talk about. Swiftblade, Tremble, Doctor, and Warbeast were the bands. Nothing really crazy there. Kinesis into Midas, Tempest into Valkyrie, and Magnus so far are the picks. But yeah, the first pick, Kinesis.
Yeah, there's one other thing I want to go over as well is the Doctor first pick ban. To me, we've seen time and time again, first pick Doctors are increasingly getting punished now. Whether it's from the Moira to heroes like Prisoner or even Magebane, we've seen time to time. And maybe I guess they just didn't want to deal with it because I guess they was going to first pick Kinesis, so they banned out the Doctor. And talking of first pick Kinesis to break, yeah, I mean we've seen it do so much or have so much success in whatever kind of role it has, whether it's in the suicide lane played by Boxy or even support role played by Serenia. Obviously, a very favourite sort of hero here for Serenia, and it does a lot of work, so I guess no surprise, really, in that respect.
Yeah. Kinesis, no doubt, getting more attention specifically by these two teams, BMG and Mint. So, yeah, going to be interesting again to see how it really picks up from the other teams, or if they just like their own directions. Not a fan of it, but yeah, it's hard to believe that would be the case because again, they both Boxy and Serenia here in these individual cases have really shown the potential of this hero in their specific roles. So next tier of bans though happening, you saw that Midas Parasite pick, was the final pick over there coming out for Null. Yeah, they first picked the Midas themselves. That also pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, again, another hero that has been gaining a lot of steam recently. I know Fotislav likes it a lot, so does Oscar. It's kind of has a little bit of viability in terms of where it can be placed, depending on the lane, for example. And then the Parasite last pick is somewhat standard, to be fair. Nullstone, they always run a jungler. They are not a team that runs second supports at all, really. I think they had almost a 95% jungler rate in terms of their games recently, and obviously they need a Tempest counter as well, so fits quite nicely. And what you got to Parasite is actually, he plays it a little bit differently from a lot of other Parasites. He does build into that Lex Codex, which I talk very, very highly of, and it's going to be cool to sort of see it here as well. I'm assuming that's what he's going to go for.
Yeah, I mean, he specifically is a player that likes the puzzle box on top of that. So, but you are right. It also seems like the Lex Talionis has been an item that he's been favoring, especially ever since that came out. Again, we have kind of seen it a little more. I know Zlap ran it recently on his Parasite, and we saw a lot of potential of it. So, yeah, going to be intriguing to see which direction he goes, but I would not be surprised to see that Lex in a Codex. It is a very, very, very powerful burst build. Gemini coming out here as a carry of choice. Kind of interesting there. Probusk may end up at that, but not your usual.
It makes a little bit of sense if you look at the lineup here on the draft here from Nullstone, all very magic heavy except for maybe the Valkyrie, but even then she has to be built very late game to have a real physical presence. And obviously when you get level 16 Fire and Ice, they have very, very high magic armor, it's like 9.5, which is kind of like a permanent investment on you. It kind of makes sense to that degree, obviously, because you have the high magic armor, but I guess you could be even thinking perhaps they should be building or drafting a Shrunken Head carrier for their carry, which Gemini can do, but it's not the most natural Shrunken Head carrier, obviously. But he might build one here, might not. We'll have to wait and see.
We will. Rhapsody coming out. Speaking of support options, Nullstone Gaming going with the Rhapsody here. Again, nothing too out of the ordinary there necessarily. The fact that she's still left open at this point. Pretty good option to go with, so
I mean, she's good, but I'm not a big fan of whenever she's playing either against a Magnus or Bubbles, because both have very, very easy cancels to the Protective Melody. The main reason why against Magnus isn't very good, because obviously Magnus is going to use the Eruption, jump into obviously the team fight, and the first response, the first sort of kind of reaction actually from a Rhapsody is it also instantly pop the Protective Melody, and Magnus is going to instantly stun it off. And it's okay, I guess, in the laning phase, but perhaps other supports would be maybe a little bit better because of that. But
ooh, look at that right click. Nighthound. ProBusk has been known to run the Nighthound, but again, with them already having a Gemini,
they need an offlaner.
Yeah.
I guess Gemini could offlane, but...
That's true. Plague Rider, still a little bit funky, but yeah. So they're deciding here about 20 seconds more.
Bubbles would be decent.
Until they come out with their decision. Yeah, you like the Bubbles here. Yeah, great stopper for Rhapsody.
Exactly.
Good
against Midas and Valkyrie. That stops their escape mechanisms with the silence, like 3 seconds extra at lockdown. Yeah, nice. I like the pick. It makes sense against the Rhapsody, Valkyrie, and even the Parasite to an extent, because the silence is... Like, if you look at all three of the cores in terms of Parasite, Valkyrie, Midas, they all have an escape mechanism, and obviously all are stopped by the silence from Bubbles. So yeah, I do like the pick up here. Makes sense.
Yeah. All right, so now we'll see what Nullstone finishes with. They got a lot of time to decide here. So they kind of rushed through, not necessarily rush, I guess, but they were pretty decisive with what they wanted to go with here initially. But yeah, nearly 70 seconds still of extra time that they have to decide that final pick. I mean, you look at what they got already. Probably, I guess, a short lane for a Beaverbanger would be.
I hope so. Dude, I hope we do not
see.
Yeah, I really hope we don't see carry Valkyrie. Yeah, it just does. It hasn't seen a lot of success really. She needs a lot of items really to sort of scale well into the late game, and it's just a lot of farm really that I think even other carries would be better suited with it. I really like the way I think Mint plays it at times. Like they play it on the offlane with Zibby, and they really use it aggressively with the Valkyrie Prism. And I think that's her niche really. Less so of a hard carry, but more so kind of a utility kind of carry in that respect.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what that final pick is once again. Plenty of time to go for it. Again, this is the other round of 4 matchup. Sync Esports versus Shrek, guys. They played on Tuesday. And if you missed that action, I definitely highly recommend checking out the VODs, guys, because it was a great series, even though it was 2-0 in the end for Sync. Definitely a great series overall. Well played by Shrek, just falling short there. So Dark Lady is going to be that carry option, so they no doubt go the hard carry route here. With the Dark. I mean, speaking of that other series, obviously Sync did run Dark Lady one of those games and performed very well against Shrek. So
I like it quite a lot here, actually. It works very, very well in the lane, actually. Bubbles is going to have a horrible time in the off lane playing against Dark Lady. Like Dark Lady's one of the best heroes against him, obviously, because you get the silence off, and you take Bubbles' escape mechanism completely out of the picture, which is very, very hard for a Bubbles player to deal with. Not only that, it's a very good hero against the Gemini as well, because once Gemini sort of jumps in, maybe pops up into the Fire and Ice form, the doggy form, Dark Lady with the silence as well, it stops Gemini from sort of rejoining into the main hero. So it's very easy to burst him down once he sort of goes into sort of the Fire and Ice form. And I was talking about obviously about Gemini being somewhat of a decent pick against Nullstone before the Dark Lady pick, because obviously he wants to go in the Fire and Ice form to get the extra magic armor resist, but if he does that now, he's very, very vulnerable from dying to the Dark Lady. So yeah, I like the pick up here, and I think it's going to be able to get away without getting punished because they've got a Tempest on the enemy team. So yeah, I like it.
All right, so we'll see how that works out for them, but of course kicking it off here, we got our game number 1 now, and Nullstone and Mint actually both headed towards the top side initially. You got Gemini up here as well. I wonder if Mint and Trade... I mean, it looks like they're setting up to be a little different here. They got Bubbles at short. Tempest, of course, going to be in his own jungle, but maybe going to be running... Will they run Gemini aggressive here, you think?
I don't know. I think it's very risky, though. They're playing against the Parasite. Obviously, Tempest cannot go aggressive. That's why he's already in his own jungle. Are they going to try and run like an aggressive dual lane, perhaps? Unless they're just trying to get some wards off, and then they're going to just... Well, Bubbles is definitely staying bottom, though, because he would be top if not. So, but I guess they might be just running Magnus Kinesis offlane and Gemini mid, or maybe the Kinesis with the Gemini top. I don't know. I think it could definitely work well, because obviously you want to shut down Dark Lady's farm, but when you're going against a Parasite, going aggressive dual lane, I think it's very, very risky. Mm-hmm. As long as you play it to perfection, I guess it can pay off well, because you shut down Dark Lady's farm. But it definitely has a chance to sort of backfire, I think. But they are going to do it, though.
Yeah, I almost wanted to say that, Beaver Banger and Nullstone, they're known for doing this, but yeah, it's right.
Yeah.
It's actually on Min's side.
Yeah.
The fact that they're doing it here,
Well,
so.
I guess it makes a little bit of sense. I mean, with the Kinesis and the aggressive dual lane, they do have a way of sort of gaining lane control. As you can see, he's already pulled the Archer quite far back. So they are going to get lane control here. So Parasite's presence in the lane is going to be very much reduced. So I guess that makes a little bit of sense, but still very risky, though. But we'll have to wait and see if it's going to work out.
Yeah, here we go. Again, going to get an idea of how this will work out ultimately. I mean, you are right when it comes to that Kinesis pressure and what he can apply. Obviously, we know plenty of it, and already Hero that even could sustain by himself in a suicide roll, as Boxy shows. So, yeah, it is a kind of interesting, stand up, but perhaps it does have the capability to work out here. Now, again, the one scary thing for them will be this Parasite here and how active he's going to be. I assume he's going to look to be pretty active. They did block, of course, the pole camp, but he does have the side camp right here next to the lane. Currently a Skeleton King in it, actually, so it could possibly take advantage of that. So, yeah, again, going to need to be careful about that. Is the Legion side here in that top lane. Does leave other matchups, though, to talk about. We got Magnus versus Midas here in the middle lane. And then at the bottom, it ends up being a Bubbles versus a Valkyrie. Of course, Tempest there in the jungle, but Valkyrie not too concerned about that. So this is also kind of setting up for Asuka and Valkyrie to perhaps have a pretty good time.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said before, when with Bubbles in the off lane, like he was going to have such a hard time against Dark Lane, and that could be the main reason why they actually laned it as they did. Obviously, it's still risky for both Probusk and Kinesis to be up here, but I mean, if Bubbles goes up into the top lane, like he's going to be level 2, level 3 for almost the entire laning phase because he's just going to feed otherwise. So it makes sense. Like I said, it's a little bit more risky, but I think it can pay off. I mean, with the lane control they've got right now in the top lane, it's very, very hard for Parasite to actually have a presence in this lane until he gets level 6 when they can perhaps start diving it. Yeah. He's thinking about coming over, but like there's no way like he's going to have any impacts because they're going to see him when he does rotate over. But yeah, like you said, both Valkyrie and Bubbles are going to have decent matchups down bottom. I'd probably favour that with Bubbles just slightly because of the ability to sort of spam out with the shell surf, but should be somewhat even though outside of that.
Yeah, that is true. Again, this lane positioning is what's really given Mint a great chance here to be very successful, and so far that is kind of working out. Now, Dark Lady's farm with that set, 13-0 currently for Beaver Banger, so he's obviously managing very well. Again, the Taint Soul, really one of these unique kind of melee hard carry heroes that can still farm pretty well because of that Taint Soul ability, unlike others. So, in what could be some dangerous situations. And this is kind of that here. Again, both Gemini and especially Kinesis. They got the jump, they got some burst, so you got to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, you're right. Like the Kinesis and Gemini, they definitely have better kill potential in the lane compared to the Dark Lady and Rhapsody. But obviously, the one thing that Dark Lady and Rhapsody have is the Parasite factor. Because if Mint do go to go try and get aggressive on the Dark Lady or the Rhapsody, if Parasite's sitting in this hard camp right now, they're going to just completely die in that respect. So it depends, obviously, again, like I said, on Mint and how risky they're willing to sort of take this in the top lane.
Yeah. Keeping an eye on the jungle here, how that's developing. We got Iceland Go-Go playing the Tempest. So far, about 275 gold per minute. Actually, very interesting pickup on him. He actually goes the Ion Stone here. You almost kind of forget that it's actually in the game still, because no one really does this. Maybe the support every once in a while, but never a jungler.
Yeah. After support left the scene, it's completely died off. Yeah. You're right, to be fair. But one thing's for certain, though, is that Iceland Go-Go is an incredibly aggressive player. Like, remember, if we think about his Cthulhu play, very, very strong, always looking to get active. And if you're looking to get active, then you could be controlling runes as well. And like a well-timed invis or haste with the Ion Stone, for example, can really have a difference on either mid or top, for example. So it makes sense, and I like the diverse play he's been doing up here.
Magnus needs to be a little bit careful. You want to go for that top rune and ends up not getting it because, well, there's just so many people here. And he's going to try to skirt away. He will be fine. Speaking of getting the rune, Tempest, guess what? He got the invis on that Ion Stone, and it's a pretty powerful combination. He actually got it on the Ion Stone first, and then he picked it up on top of that. So he has potential here. Now, he doesn't want to spend too much time, obviously.
Magnus is coming over. I don't know if they have the damage, though. Or maybe if Kinesis comes over, they definitely have the damage.
Yeah, but he's going to be spotted.
He's going to get spotted, though. Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
If he had Black Hole, maybe.
That was it right there. There's a chance. There we go. There's a first down. There's a second from Magnus. Kinesis with a burst. The stays smash on top, and yes, it is enough. Iceland Go-Go with credit. So, yeah, good execution. They just had enough lockdown right there.
Definitely. Yeah, nice rotation, like you said. But that all goes back to the Iron Stone on Zembis, for example, and obviously their rotation. Midas only thought it was Magnus and Kinesis, and again, just those two, they don't have the damage, but you throw a Tempest in the mix as well, and they definitely have the kill. So, nice play from just Mint altogether as a team.
Well played indeed. 5 minutes in, and they pick up the Bloodlust just prior to that. So, obviously feeling good about their start now. We got Magnus sitting level 6 on top of that. So has a possible eruption to use if the opportunity calls for it. And then Tempest, he especially can get in that Bloodlust kill. He kind of skyrockets up there, so going to make use of that farm. Looks like going the typical has boots. In fact, also has a Ring of Sorcery finish on top of that. So yeah, really making use of this early gold. We'll see if some pressure at the bottom lane perhaps happens with the transition here. So taking a look back at the top lane, you know, again, it's still a favor of Dark Lady. Obviously, Kinesis was gone for a little bit right there. So understandable that Gemini may not necessarily be as high of farm as Dark Lady, but sticking pretty close with that said. So they're not necessarily accomplishing an idea of locking down Dark Lady, but Gemini's still getting some pretty good farm in the end. You know, what's kind of surprising me, though, is the fact that Valkyrie is struggling quite a bit when it comes to her farm.
Yeah.
And actually, she might be in a lot of trouble right here. Out comes a Tempest Ultimate right from the opening. The Kalefield on top of that, gonna force a leap to get it stunned if so. And yeah, she had really no choice right there but to just accept death in the end. So good coordination once again, and Valkyrie gonna struggle even more.
Yeah, it's the Ion Stone as well, Breaky, that we were talking about it, and it's had an impact both mid and bot now, and just a nice rotation. And before that kill, obviously, I mean, it is a Bubbles versus a Valkyrie, obviously. I think Bubbles definitely does take that matchup 1v1. Perhaps not to that extent, but obviously Zibby, a very, very good laner, and obviously that death as well does not help him at all. So, but again, Iceland Goga, man, making all these plays and just very living up to his sort of name as a very aggressive jungler player, and it's working out very, very well here, though.
You're right. I mean, yeah, he is, and again, Cthulhu farm performances definitely known by, but really, I mean, it happens to be the prime rune too. Let's be honest. If you're gonna get a rune on an Ion Stone, it's really the Invis is what's the most powerful. Because yeah, sure, it only lasts. What does it last? Like 10 seconds, I think.
Oh.
When it's actually popped, but that's usually enough to set up the kills. We're gonna see right here. Look at this, almost like a smoke gang coming out. He passed it on to Kinesis. That's another benefit of it, obviously. Now, interesting pause time because kind of get them to think about this, but I think Midas is gonna be in trouble here once again.
Yeah, because now they have like the triple stun combo, so Magnus is going to be able to get his eruption off. Tempest obviously used the elemental void, so that's going to be down. But I think with the Magnus eruption, they should be able to secure the kill on Midas as long as they time this correctly. Though Magnus has to stun first, and then Kinesis and Tempest, so Magnus can channel eruption without Midas using the elemental warp. So I have to wait and see if they execute it properly.
Yeah, okay, There we go. There's a stun channel, the eruption. No, he's not going to channel it. He's thinking they have enough damage, and they're not. Or will they? I mean, he's going to even go for the counter. Yeah, not going for eruption. That was a big no-no right there.
Yep, definitely. They had the stun duration as well. With both Tempest and Kinesis stun, I think you could have channeled the eruption with Midas not sort of cancelling it, for example. But thought they had the damage, but obviously they didn't. I mean, the reason why the kill worked last time is because both think were level 4 when they killed the Midas. But before, arrow onto Tempest.
Yeah, big arrow from Oscar right here. Will he secure the kills? The question. Now, the call to Valkyrie, obviously, it only hit the creep, or it double hit the creep next gen because that's what was closest. So that was a difference maker right there. He refused to go a little bit closer, figuring that he would have been in a troublesome spot. Yeah, so he doesn't get the kill as a result of it, but good attempt nonetheless, trying to find something.
Definitely. But yeah, I mean, just when Midas was level 7, they didn't have the damage. Oh, we're actually talking of damage. Kinesis dead.
There's the damage. Parasite showing that right there. Face hug, the Leech, and obviously Midas doing plenty. In fact, he got credit for the kill. So, yeah, not getting that kill on a Midas, I mean, that's hurting them. It's almost backfiring in the long run here. You see he's starting to gain some more and more momentum, especially with the kill he just picked up right there. So, definitely missing out on a pretty big opportunity.
He's really tanky low, like 1.1k HP. He's like 8 minutes in. It's like a flux almost, but obviously he has the ability for burst damage as well. So really underestimated that and hurt him a little bit. But I mean, they're still doing decent though, 1,000 gold ahead. This aggressive dual lane top though, it really hasn't done anything though. As you talked about Breaky, about the Dark Lady, obviously she was farming as if no one was there. 370 GP and Big Bang is playing very, very well. Even farming under pressure, obviously with the aggressive dual lane. And as a result, like Probosk is a little bit of a limited farm. I think it's worked out pretty decently for Mint because they've got farm on the bubbles now as well. And talking of bubbles, they're trying to find Midas, but not going to be able to find it. But yeah, they've rotated up lanes though, realizing that top lane's too dangerous now. Parasite's level 6, Dark Lady has the Ghost Marches. They don't want to get dived, so they're going to switch up lanes. Bubbles will probably start either just trying to set up kills, for example, or even farm the jungle because top lane now is complete control of Nullstone. So.
Yeah, you got Gemini down here. Ooh, arrow the middle lane. 5 seconds though onto the Archer, going for the big arrow right there, and that would have definitely been a kill if it hit Labyrinth, but he caught it just in time and went for the sidestep. So he is going to be fine. Parasite decides to fall back as well. and of course continues to jungle. And actually, he has the Vulture Lord here, and definitely can make great use of that on the stacked camps that he currently has. So some pretty good farm going to continue to come out for Parasite. Oh, like I said, continue. I mean, it's only 220 gold per minute so far, so I guess not the prettiest so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because like he hasn't been as aggressive as this Tempest, which honestly it should be the other way around. Tempest should kind of, not should be, but in terms of on general or on average, the Tempest one's that AFK farm. It's the Parasite who gets aggressive, and it's kind of been the other way around here. And as a result, Parasite's farm is a little bit lacking. Top lane was hard to sort of find kills, obviously, because of Kinesis and his lane positioning. But he should be doing fine. Like I said, when he picks up the Lex and Codex, that's when you'll start seeing a lot more kills to the board of what you got.
Yeah. That's going to be the timing for him. So until then, though, maybe not going to be the most useful, at least just yet. In fact, he might be in a little bit of trouble. No, he's going to spot them. Spots the Veiled Rod at 10 for Tempest. Now, he saw Kinesis there, thinking it might have just been him, but obviously Tempest coming out to kind of thwart off that plan. Ooh, the arrow just missing Magnus. It almost even hit Tempest in the back row, but face like on Magnus there in the meantime. He gets the sun off still. He's going to be fine for now. Staccatus does not enough to finish him off. The Kelpfield also from Bubbles doing some work right here, and down goes Parasite, and it might be another kill on a Valkyrie. He's got a shell serve in 5 more seconds. Can Asuka somehow avoid this? Speaking of avoiding, Midas cannot avoid the middle end. There's a shell serve.
Oh!
Yes.
Oh!
It connects.
Nice.
A double tap for Zibe. Well played indeed. And here comes a little bit of momentum now in favor of Mint. Also, the middle tower push is very likely going to be successful here on top of that.
Yeah, just nice rotation. And again, we saw that game when they played against BMG and obviously knocked them out of this tournament so they could go through to the tournament stage here. It was because of their aggression, and they're showing it here as well. And I think, honestly, it's Iceland Goku at the forefront of it. Like, he smoked up top. Like, he doesn't even have Astrolabe, but yet he's still looking to get aggressive. And it almost puts everyone else on the side of Mint to have that aggressive sort of tendency. And they're finding it here. And the reason why it's working out so well is because, Beaver Banger is forced to stay top. Like, don't get me wrong, he's got great farm, 400 GPM, which is very, very good, seeing as he had kind of a somewhat hard laning stage, actually. That's actually fantastic, to be fair.
Yeah.
But obviously, when you play a Dark Lady, like, you simply cannot get aggressive or cannot take team fights until you have Shrunken Head. And obviously, he's going to need to have a Rune Cleaver before that as well. And Mint, they're doing the right thing. They're grouping up. And because they have that numbers advantage, it's working out very, very well for them. And I think Nullstone, that they should just be realizing that, guys, let's try and not get caught out, for example, because that's what Mint are going to try and do.
Yeah.
And Mint are doing a very well a job out of it, though. So.
Yeah, that they are. I mean, yeah, you do look at the Dark Lady, though. Again, it is pretty scary that knowing that he's up there, and again, the Rune Cleaver are going to excel that more, but at the same time, exactly, 4 players, 300 plus GPM on the side of Mint. That's got to be feeling pretty good. And as long as they keep up that idea that they're powerful in the team fights right now, they know Dark Lady, of course, is going to be behind here as far as being very impactful, pretty squishy earlier on. She wants to sit back and play the farm game. Gemini can definitely get involved with this team early on, especially going that Energizer choice. And it looks like the bottom lane. Nice deny, indeed.
I think he was
right there.
I think he was. I don't know if he was smoked or he had Indies, but obviously Mint didn't realize he was there. But really nice time though from Oscar.
Yeah, well played indeed. But I mean, all 5 are still here. They're making a point that they want to push this, and they're very likely going to. In fact, Astrolabe just delivered to Iceland Gogo as well. So I'm pretty sure it's safe to say for Nullstone here, probably don't want to defend this. Just let it go.
Yeah, they just want to trade. They do not have the means to take it because they'd be fighting 4v5 because Dark Lady simply cannot get involved. And if he gets involved, he's just going to die. So. Yep, Mint are doing the right thing, and Nullstone are wisely just trying to split push as much as possible. But they're doing it kind of slowly though. Midas isn't pushing out mid fast enough, and neither is Dark Lady top. So I think they're gonna trade very, very ineffectively though. They just lost a tier 2 tower. They're gonna lose their ancients now as well, and they're not even taking top or mid. They're gonna take top actually, but still very, very bad trade though. And Mint just getting further and further ahead though.
Yeah, you look at the overall goal lead. I mean, sure, the tower goes down right there, but even after that tower kill, and yeah, finishing off the rest of the Ancients, about a 4,100 goal lead right now, and a 2,500 experience lead in favor of Mint here. So yeah, definitely, again, things coming together a little bit more nicely. Again, obviously the Rune Cleaver for Dark Lead is where they really want to get to start excelling off of that, but also as a supporting cast, in fact, Lex Leonis has been finished on Parasite, so definitely looking to get some kills here in the near future. Midas, Parasite, Valkyrie for that matter, very aggressive possibility heroes themselves, and most certainly want to capitalize off of getting kills with them. Again, that also buys more time for the Dark Lady, obviously, to make stuff happen. But the double portal key purchase, both Magnus and Bubbles get the portal key at the same time. That's, again, not good news. In fact, they're going to use it right away at the bottom lane here as Gemini assists. And down goes Asuka. So ultimate warrior streak for Zibe as he is now 4-0-1.
Yeah, just this really nice use of the portal key. You pick it up straight away, you look for a kill, and they secure it, and it really sort of surprises obviously the enemy team. I just want to talk about the Midas Astrolabe though. He's picked it up, and on general, I think Astrolabe on Midas makes a lot of sense. It fits well with the Gauntlets of Strength, for example. But in this game here, I'm not a big fan of it though, because you're not going to be able to take team fights until you get Shrunken Head and sort of Rune Cleaver on Dark Lady. That's about maybe 15 to 20 minutes away, and that's when the Astrolabe is not going to be useful. Like you pick up the Astrolabe to take team fights right now, right here, because otherwise you do not find a big effectiveness. Like look at Tempest, he's picked up an Astrolabe, he's team fighting straight away with it. Whereas Nullstone, they're not looking to do that. What they are looking to do is try and create space for the Dark Lady. That's why Parasite's picked up the Lex Talionis, and I think if Midas picked up a Portal Key, he could try and find kills on the bubbles, could find kills on the Magnus, for example, with the Parasite. But with the Astrolabe, he does not have the ability to do that. And like I said, they do not want to be taking team fights right now. So this item, I think, is a little bit of a waste, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Parasite here, again, going the Lex, but I mean, you see right here, again, what you got really is a fan of the puzzle box. So, and now, at the same time, I mean, still, Lex Talionis is still good to have. I don't think you need a codex to really make it work, obviously.
That's true. Yeah.
But,
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lex is probably the biggest thing with Parasite, because obviously you can get the double Lex effect when you face hug the same target, which, actually, mid lane Eruption.
Yeah, they're going in. They are, actually, the Eruption onto Vulture Lord. Did I miss something there? I mean,
Nope.
They were trying to go in elsewhere, or?
Yeah, it was just a little bit poor execution, really. I mean, I think Midas was there at the time as well, but Mint would. That was just really kind of miscommunication, clearly. But that's somewhat decent, though, for Nullstone. I don't know if Mint are looking to try and take a team fight with Eruption down. I guess they are still. I guess they are still stronger, really. So it's not the biggest deal that Eruption is down. But yeah, just going back to the Parasite Lex. So it works so well with the hero, and obviously because you have the double Lex effect on the same target you face hug. Codex just sort of emphasises the amount of burst potential you can have with Lex. But again, similar to the Astrolabe on Midas, you pick up Puzzle Box on Parasite to take team fights, to get involved, to take team fights, for example, and they don't want to be taking team fights because Dark Lady's going to be picking up a Shrunken Head, and that's when they team fight. But that's 15, 20 minutes away. He wants to be creating space for him by looking for kills. Actually, talking of kills, Bubbles.
Bubbles in a lot of trouble now. Take cover, a lot of good damage right there. Going to use a shell serve. No, it's not enough. He just barely got nuked down in the end by Midas, so he almost made a pretty good escape right there, but wasn't to be. No TP support coming in, unfortunately. You do see a TP coming in now, and there's the second one, so they're going to try to defend it, but tower does fall on Kinesis and Gemini. Unless they get maybe Midas here, no. I mean, they're still going to chase. Oh, nice.
Nice. Really nice. He was dead without that.
Yeah. Gets out of there. Well played. So
positive.
positive.
Just going back to the puzzle box on Parasite, like they want to be. I get, to be fair, actually, they might come at a similar time. To be fair, the Shrunken Head on Dark Lady might come at a similar time to Puzzle Box. So, actually, in that respect, it might actually be okay. I just thought maybe they wanted to create a little bit more space for the Dark Lady, so Codex would make a little bit more sense. But seeing as Parasite isn't farming too well, and obviously Puzzle Box is 2,700 or only level 1, it's probably going to come out similar time to Shrunken Head Dark Lady, and that's when they want to take team fights, and that's where the Puzzle Box, Puzzle Box and Parasite is quite decent. So. In that respect, I guess it makes a lot of sense, I guess.
Yeah. It's coming to 18 minutes now into this game. Again, a slight lead for mid, but it's still Nullstone Gaming. They definitely have their positives. They've continued to have the Dark Lady, obviously, as we keep going back to. Now has that Abyssal Skull, so again, has really hit that high-impact farm mark now, and now is going to start building more damage-focused items with the purchase of the Abyssal Skull right there. So something you will have to keep in mind. Fuzzy Sloth, he did go the Astrolabe earlier. Now the Portal Key, as we saw, picked up there. From the side shop. Again, kind of a hero that just Astrolabe does make sense on, especially if we're going to build a Crushing Claw on him earlier on. Into the Bracer. Might as well make more use of it. Oh, Bubbles trying to find some action. He knows they're here, and actually I think the Hellborn team didn't realize how many were here. Rhapsody going to get caught initially, 5-second arrow, but it hit the, it did hit the real mag? No, those were illusions right there.
Illusion.
Well played, and they get the kill, and they may still be able to make something out of this.
They're trying to take team fights, though. Like, Nullstone are looking to try and get aggressive, and I guess it could work, but I think it's a little bit too risky, though. Yeah, they are going to back off. It makes a lot more sense physically now Rhapsody's dead. I still think Dark Lady's going to need a Shrunken, because he's just going to die from a Magnus stun, plus all the other damage they've got on the side of Mint. I think they need to be sort of split pushing, trying to delay as much as possible. And when they get Shrunken and Dark Lady, that's when they're going to be very, very strong. Because, I mean, a lot of the damage coming up from Mint is just coming from magic damage. So, and Dark Lady's very, very farmed, so if they can get that, then I think Mint are going to be in a good position. But
yeah, Energizer just finished on Valkyrie, so again, speaking of items, that trying to combat a little bit more against Mint right here. That could help with that. And you do see Midas, he's pushing out the top lane, trying to get that tower destroyed, maybe even gets distraction out of this. It seems like Mint, though, they're pretty occupied on pushing the secondary mid themselves, and they're going to stick with that. You got Magnus, the Illusion in the front lines, just in case to scout anyone out. You see quick clear the creep wave, and this should be a tower kill as well. So yeah, that goes back to Nullstone. Maybe not necessarily the most ready to do team fights right now. And this is another example of that right here. Mint should easily, they're falling back actually. Okay, the top tower. They catch Bubbles right here. Bubbles just gets melted on. You do see the Astrolabe, or the ultimate from Bubbles to help lock down Dark Lady. Now they get the tower kill, but at what cost? Oh, he dodges the Kinesis damage right there with the turning strikes. Is it actually going to be enough for the getaway in the end? It doesn't look like it. He eventually is stunned by Gemini and does go down right there. So yeah, that was interesting though. I mean, a 2-for-1 exchange and the tower kill, but.
Dark Lady died.
One for one, I guess, yeah.
I really liked the dive on Bubbles. That was the right decision, but staying to try and kill the tower was not the right decision. They could have got out after they killed Bubbles if they just instantly ran. Instead, they tried to get the tower catch top lane.
Parasite getting caught out here. Now the Valkyrie Prism, I'm pretty sure is going to save him. Yeah, they don't have any dust. Anything of that sort, so good get away from him and good assistance, of course, from Valkyrie.
Yeah, talking about the tier 2 tower top, though, like they could have just let that tower get denied and got out easily, but as a result they didn't. Dark Lady died, which was definitely not the way forward because they're waiting and they're really hoping that Dark Lady's going to build a Shrunken because when she's got a Shrunken they can take team fights, but not before. So obviously that's going to delay it quite a bit. I like what they did though because obviously Mint were looking to take the tier 2 tower mid, and when they saw Bubbles take TPing in, they said we can take him, and it was a really smart play, but staying and trying to kill the tower was not, unfortunately. But, they're still doing decent though. Dark Lady is still very, very farmed, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to defend their racks, for example, before she gets shrunken. So that's when it gets interesting for the side of Null, though.
Yep, puzzle box just finished on the side of Parasite, so obviously, again, a good tool to use there. Even level 1 still provides quite a bit for the team. Of course, level 3 where you want it to be, but at least has something there. But here goes the middle tower, actually going to be destroyed this time. Now you got Parasite. He's being a little crafty here. He knows that he's good to go, sitting that far back into the Vulture Lord, and he is going to be fine, harassing them a little bit. But buying a little bit of time for Nullstone to maybe push this bottom tower. I think Mint, though, it's safe to say they're going to start reacting to it, in fact, already. You got Bubbles already down here. He has a kill field good to go, so both Midas and Valkyrie, getting the hell on out of there as you would expect. And so no engagement going to be happening down here as a result. So, I mean, the lead has become less here for Mint.
Yeah.
And the experience is practically identical now. So that's where things are actually looking pretty solid for Nullstone Gaming now. As actually, Valkyrie will get away.
Those Wolf Commanders was following Valkyrie. I thought he was going to get caught out, but he didn't. But yeah, no, Nullstone are playing a really good game, though. They're splitting them out very, very well. Whenever Mint group up to try and take a team fight, Nullstone, they split up, they farm very well, and that's why they're actually ahead in terms of experience, but only gold lead down because obviously the tower. If they can get this Dark Lady struggling, I think they're going to be in a very good position because they're going to be doing very well in team fights. They're going to be able to take the towers that they haven't been able to get because obviously that their team fight disadvantage at this time. And then Mint, they don't have too much to really offer it. Gemini is farming very, very well though, and that's when he becomes more of a decent physical presence. Obviously they've got the Tempest, got Portal Key now as well. That might come into effect though, seeing as Parasite doesn't have his own Portal Key, for example. Therefore, his positioning might be a little bit squandered if he gets catched by a Tempest ultimate with Portal Key, and that might have a big impact in the team fights as well. But Nullstone are definitely holding in very, very well.
That they are. You got a Mighty Blade now delivered or being purchased by Tempest, so Shrunken Head going to be the works for him. Gemini, the Frostburn, 2,600 gold exactly, coming out for Mint here and for Pro Busk, obviously. Playing the Gemini. So, yeah, it just continues to be a back-and-forth game now, really, at this point. Another set of Ancients, and again, several of these triple-stack Ancients were taken by Mint earlier in this game, so it really goes to show, the fact that it is so close in gold, how it could even be much higher for Nullstone Gaming if that wasn't stolen by Mint. But Dark Lady will get this one. I believe that was only a double stack, but still a similar point coming across it. Get some good farm out of it. Now she has another 2,700 gold herself, so just about has that Shrunken Head. As we go back to being a pretty key item here, especially for the Dark Lady, and that'll start getting some more action going for Nullstone, knowing that she can feel a little more comfortable in these team fights. Midas also, you can't forget about him, 410 gold per minute. Fuzzy Sloth as usual, continuing to do pretty well here. 3-2-1 overall hero farms stat. Not the most impressive, but again, it was sheepstick in the works, basically.
He's got 400 GPM. To me, that's pretty insane. Seeing as he obviously I think he died twice in lane as well. He didn't have a very good lane stage because of the amount of pressure they put on him. But for him to bounce back like this is very, very impressive, honestly. And obviously building towards that sheepstick, that's going to be very, very useful against Gemini though, because obviously Gemini not a natural stronger Ned carrier, for example. Obviously, even if he has a stronger Ned, you can catch him before that. But it's going to be even easier now that he doesn't, and that's going to have a massive impact because you take, or you sort of Gemini and Darkley can sort of sit on top of him, and he's just going to burst him down. There's nothing that Mint can really do, seeing as Darkley now has the stronger head. So once Midas picks up that sheepstick, Mint are going to be in a little bit of a bad situation, really. The one X factor they have is this Tempest with the portal key. If you can catch Dark Lady plus Parasite, they're going to be in a decent position to stay team fights, though.
Yeah, and again, it also goes back to, Nullstone Gaming especially. They're a fan of the later games here, so they wouldn't be too against. This game obviously lasts a little bit longer, especially having that Dark Lady here for their side. So keeping that in mind, we'll see how that develops. The puzzle blocks, I want to say level 2.
It's level 2.
Yeah,
it's
just purchased by Parasite, so still
So,
needs
yeah,
that third level, but
And this is actually the right decision as well from Parasite. I mean, I was talking about maybe you should have gone Codex, but obviously now it's come out at the same time as Stronger Dead from Dark Lady. So yeah, I definitely think Puzzle Box was the better decision now. So I retract my Codex statement about 15 minutes ago.
how about Gemini here going the axe of the Malphite?
Yeah, he's really tanky now, which I think he's gonna need to be, because if he gets Sheepstick, for example, he's going to be needed to be very tanky to withstand all the burst after the Sheepstick. But just going back to obviously I think the Astrolabe on Midas was maybe a little bit of a poor choice, though. He hasn't been able to get too much effectiveness out of it, and sort of using the Astrolabe in team fights now is just, how much does it give? It gives only, what, I think 200? I think 200, isn't it?
Is it?
200 health, and it's like 200 health obviously in the mid game, particularly going into the late game as well. It's very, very minimal. It's a lot more impactful, 15 minutes for example, when you're pushing up taking towers. But still, he's farmed very, very well, so it actually isn't going to be that big of a deal that he's gone the Astrolabe and hasn't got too much effectiveness out of it.
Yeah. Kongor perhaps being of attention here. You see a 5-second arrow, and actually Midas going to lead the charge, and now here comes Darklady on top of that. So yeah, they're going to attempt here now. Ward Aside, I believe, would have spotted at least them maybe coming in. I mean, you see the vision it's giving. Definitely. It's just on the outskirts. So, but yeah, they are heading over as if they know, and that'll give the cue to Nullstone to start falling back themselves. So if anything, just seeing if they could have ninja'd it. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Valkyrie Prism going to be popped now. I'm pretty sure that was seen. So another case of...
Maybe. Do they have Revolts on the side of Min?
They do,
they do.
yeah.
Oh, nice play.
This is pretty big, because, yeah, they're running right into them right now. Actually, Midas going to get the initiative up. He gets stunned, though, and now he's taking a lot of damage in. The background science comes out. Protect the Melody will keep him alive for now. And Darklady, that cover of darkness, again, it is doing work, no doubt. Gemini, though, he's sitting on top of Darklady. He wants him killed. Magnus Eruption goes off. Gemini changes targets to Valkyrie. Valkyrie leap, though, way will be fine for now. Everybody's still alive on Nullstone Gaming. Make that. No, Parasite takes over the Soldier. He's still going to go as well. And he very likely may be able to get out of here. Magnus stunned, maybe not. Nice stun by him, but no, he gets killed in the process. And Parasite will survive a 3-for-0 exchange in favor of Nullstone Gaming. It was looking like Mint. I mean, they knew. They had the Ro4 there, but they still got jumped themselves.
This Shrunken and Dark Lady is doing far too much for him. They've got nothing to deal with it. And actually, Beaverbanger played that incredibly well as well. His targeting was perfect there. He sat on top of Tempest because he knows that with Shrunken Head, there's nothing that they can do to him. The only thing that can catch him out is obviously the Tempest element or Void. But he targeted him, bursted him down for 4-0 just by himself. And that Shrunken Head break is really paying off because Mint, they have nothing to do with it outside of the Tempest, and Dark Lady was making sure that Tempest was not going to have an impact in that team fight, and he definitely didn't. So, yeah really nice play from Nullstone, and that's what I mean. They pick up the Stronger than Dark Lady, and the team fights are starting going Nullstone's way. So,
yep, 2,300 gold lead. He got a 6,200 experience lead right now in favor of Nullstone, and actually port back to base from Dark Lady as she finishes her Firebrand on top of that. So again, a little bit more of a damage tool also helps with that farming. But Valkyrie middle lane in the meantime, she gets bursted down. Kinesis and Gemini coming together to pick her off. So no portal key necessarily, anything like that. Just simply catching Valkyrie off guard, I guess, and able to lock her down to death. So well played. Midas though, that sheepstick. In fact, he has enough gold for it. He's going to be porting back to base right here and probably finishing it Yep, there you go. So there's a sheepstick
You know.
purchase on top of that. So yeah, things really coming together pretty nicely here for Nullstone now.
That's going to be so useful, though. But the lockdown on either the Gemini or the Tempest is just going to be so impactful, that sheepstick. They've got no really answers to it outside of maybe Gemini building a behemoth to try and withstand the damage if he does get sheepstick. But I mean, with Dark Lady's farm now as well, plus the Dark Blades, it's like she's going to be hitting for like nearly 350. I think in just terms of raw attacks. And yeah, he's got the behemoth hard, but I don't think he's going to be able to really withstand it, though. I don't think he's got 2.5k HP, and I just don't think that's going to be enough, honestly.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, again, it's passive obviously helps with that too, with the armor penetration, but it seems like, yeah, it's going to be troublesome. I mean, the lockdown that they have and whatnot, that's what's going to do it, if anything. The fact that, you know, he obviously has a good amount of life, but if he's not able to be mobile and move around in the fights, and that's going to really hurt him. So.
And this is the one thing I was talking about in the draft as well. That's why I thought Gemini makes a little bit of sense, obviously, because obviously when you're firing ice, you get that magic armor resistance. But I mean, more logically, a natural Shrunken Head carry might have been a better pickup, for example. But we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Midas might be in trouble.
Yeah, he is in a lot of trouble. He went into the lake right there, but of course comes out now. Valkyrie Prism going to be used. I assume they have some kind of vision though. Okay, well there you go. There's Tempest Ultimate. That'll be vision for you. And down goes Midas. Yeah, I guess they didn't have any Rev Wards or smoke on there, or dust. Kinesis has it.
Kinesis,
there.
he was in there. Yeah,
so
exactly.
Forced to use the Tempest Ultimate. I mean, still they get the kill, which is good, but that's going to be down now for quite a bit of time.
I think Nullstone should try and take an advantage, either the tier 2 mid or even try and take Congo, because I think they can really force something with the Tempest Armor being down. I mean, Mint are looking to take Congo themselves. I definitely think Mint or Nullstone should try and take a fight with this. With Tempest Armor down, like that's their biggest lockdown that Mint have at the moment, and I think they could even fight 4v5.
Well, Kongor is going to be the place for Mint to go, apparently. All 5 of them are going to be here, but as you said, fighting 4v5 not out of the question now. You know, not having Midas with that sheepstick and the damage that he can put out, that makes it a little scarier, and no doubt. And it would be a very all-in-ish kind of Kongor defense here, but they're buying time for Midas, if anything. Now, Bubbles realizes that he's going to go and kill it immediately on a Parasite right there, and here comes the rest of them. Now, Rev Ward down. Labyrinth actually getting locked down before he can do anything. Cover of Darkness comes out, and Tempest will be picked off. Now, again, he didn't have an ultimate. Nice arrow, though, on a Magnus. He goes down in the background, and they are winning this fight. Mint took it to them, and clearly that was not the best decision. Dark Lady, her Shrunken Head is down, so now she's more vulnerable. Big burst from Kinesis right there. Gemini not going to chase. We got some split fights going on here. What you got with a hat trick, though, as down goes Bubbles. Gemini, he goes down to Dark Lady. Unbelievable hold there by Nullstone. You were right, Minnie.
Yep, as expected, man, as expected. Without Tempest Armor, they've got kind of nothing, honestly. With the Shrunken Head and Dark Lady, like, he just wrecked everything. I mean, the initiation from Mint wasn't amazing, to be fair. Don't get me wrong. But just they had to run through the puzzle box from Parasite and then the Valkyrie arrow as well. But again, without the Tempest Armor breaky, their team fight is very, very lackluster. And now Nullstone get not only the team fight, but they get the token as well. So definitely in favour of Nullstone. And I mean, they're looking so good right now. I don't know what Nullstone or what Mint can really do now to get back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, a token of life on Dark Lady right here. The fact that what did she buy? Do we know what Dark Lady bought? I guess the Frostburn. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Frostburn.
Okay.
Yeah,
so she's been sitting with that. So down goes bottom tower. She has a double damage rune to even help further. Yeah, and if I was Mint, I think that's a lesson, if anything, that don't try to make some big fights happen without that Tempest Ultimate, because clearly that's how powerful it really is for you, and without it, things are very difficult. Now, and the thing that I liked most about that, too, Nullstone, they're the ones that got jumped themselves, and they still won that. But speaking of Tempest, yep, you see the quick burst right there. That Lex and everything else, Parasite providing the burst. Beaver Banger getting credit for the kill. Even more positives now for them. And Tempest is going to be dead for another 45 seconds here. He still doesn't have his Shrunken Head. That also hurts, no doubt. Granted, they have a Parasite to stop it anyways.
Yeah, he does actually go for Portal Key as well. Makes a lot. I mean, what you got is, I think he's itemized this so perfectly, this game. The Portal Key now as well. I was saying, like, with Tempest having the Portal Key advantage over Parasite, it's very much possible that he can catch Parasite plus Dark Lady, and by that they can just win the team fight. But with Portal Key on Parasite now, that's going to be very, very hard to actually get a good Tempest Armor off.
Yeah, Gemini kind of be distracted by Midas right there, and Gemini the one that ends up falling back from it because he saw Parasite coming over, and yeah, good decision. But in the meantime, middle tower goes down. Kinesis was picked off just prior to that, so it's just one after the other for Nullstone. Talk about just a complete train. I mean, snowball here from Nullstone. What was a very even game. Mint having advantages early on, especially since that Conger kill, though, or the Conger fight, I should say. It's just been all Nullstone now, and it's rapidly increasing here, it feels like, in their favor. Now, of course, again, they have the fallback of the Tempest Ultimate here on Mint, and a big one of those, we all know what can happen, and they're still close enough where that could be very, very impactful here. But clearly, this is Nullstone's momentum now, and their game at this point. And again, I keep going back to the fact that they had 2 triple stack ancients basically stolen by Mint earlier on in this game, and the fact that they're still able to keep within the gold range and obviously now pull ahead quite a bit here, pretty interesting to me. And it makes me wonder, Mint, I don't know, were they just not prioritizing enough on farm and pushing places, or?
I just think Nullstone they were making very, very effective trades. Like the one trade that didn't go too well was when they lost the Dark Lady when they were taking the tier 2 tower top. But outside of that, they've been trading perfectly. They've been split pushing well. They've been splitting the map, for example, very well. But I just think it's a very individual, great game performance from both Vivibanger and Fuzzislav, honestly. They've both had fantastic games. Obviously, the whole of Nullstone played very well. But Vivibanger, he did very, very well in lane, for example. He's 400 GPM whilst he was getting aggressive dual lane, which is very, very hard to do. Yeah, he just had a fantastic game. Like Nullstone, like everything in terms of their team decisioning has been very, very on point. And I mean, the one criticism that I've personally seen on the side of Nullstone, because I've been inside of their Skype calls, is that their lack of leadership is very, very evident. They don't have a clear leader, for example, in terms of their drafting, in terms of their in-game calls. It's very democratic in that respect. They all sort of input a little bit. But I mean, in this game, I don't know if what you've got sort of stepping up to the task, but everything in terms of leadership seems on point on the side of Nullstone. It's working out very, very well here.
Yeah, things have definitely come together very nicely for them. Now, Veiled Rock coming down here. You got Dark Lady in the front lines, almost acting like she's by herself. I think if you're Mint, though, you're probably under the impression that that's not the case. But you see Nullstone going to maybe pick off anyone that's probably rotating over to set something up. But as you see on the minimap, that's not really going to be the case. Mint is pretty confident knowing that something's up. They're not going to risk going over there. And instead, they're going to farm elsewhere. Bubbles at the top lane, and the rest of them headed up there. So this attempt by Nullstone, as clever as it was, not going to result in too much in the end here. Token of Life has about a minute remaining now. Worth noting, too. So we're really only going to get maybe one creep wave push here into the tower, if they even decide to do that.
It's risky, though. With Dark Lady being up on the front, for example, I think she can get bursted down, but obviously, because if she gets chunked without the Stronger Head, she's only got 2k HP, so... But they're going to force out the rotation back from Min, so that's the smart decision from the side of Nullstone, and then they're going to back off. So, nice play from Nullstone, but yeah, without Token, it's going to be very hard to siege the base, because all of their damage is coming from this Dark Lady, and if she sort of goes up onto the high ground, for example, she can get bursted down, because she can get initiated upon without popping her Stronger Head, for example, because of that initiation factor from, say, Magnus, for example. So, yeah, smart decision from Nullstone. Like I said, I mean, they're in no rush either. You know, they've got a lot of map control. They've got, they're Hellborn, so they've got the Congo advantage. So they can just chill, wait for the next token, for example, and continue the farm. I mean, they're farming very well, and they can just increase that as well.
Yeah. Shrunken Edge just finished on Tempest, so again, it goes back to the idea that, sure, that's great to have, still necessary, but you still got that Parasite with the Portal Key even. He's going to be in the background, and they're basically going to be playing that game now most likely of, well, if Tempest goes, then I go. And waiting for one another here, so got to be careful.
Interesting
with that.
thing, actually. I guess Arslan Gogo must have assumed that Nullstone were going to do like an all-in push. He actually sells his boots to buy a Shrunken Head, and that's going to backfire quite a bit though, because obviously they're not pushing in, and now he's going to be farming a little bit slowly. I think. I mean, as long as he can get in the jungle, get a little bit of a farm, for example, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. But it's going to be annoying and frustrating for Arslan Gogo, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So 5,500 gold saved up on Dark Lady. You know what? While we're in this pause here, I'm going to actually go use a restroom myself real quickly. Nature's been calling a lot lately, man. So go ahead and take over here, Minnie. I'll be right back, though.
Okay. Valkyrie's actually picked up Shield Breaker. Makes a lot of sense. We've been talking about the criticism of sort of Valkyrie carries recently, and I think the biggest criticism is that they just simply don't have the damage. They've been going for Dawnbringers, Geos, Nullstones kind of thing, and when you do those kind of builds, they're very, very defensive. And in this case, I like what they've done. They've gone for the Shield Breaker, gives him kind of a presence to be like a threat, and he's not the main source of damage either. You've got the Dark Lady here as well, so either what's going to happen with this item build, Mint are going to prioritise focus on the Valkyrie because she is still going to be a threat. And because they're going to focus a lot of their focus on Valkyrie, then it frees up a lot more space in the team fights for Dark Lady to dish out her damage. Or alternatively, they're focusing on the Dark Lady, for example, because he is the biggest damage threat. And whilst they're not prioritizing the Valkyrie, which gets his damage off, kind of thing. So it makes a lot of sense. For example, if he went sort of Nullstone and Geos, they wouldn't be focusing him, and they wouldn't even need to sort of worry about him being a threat because he wouldn't have any damage. So it makes a lot of sense there. And by the sniff of Breaky, it sounds like he's back.
I am. There we go. Yeah, I had to turn myself back up there for the people. All right.
Right.
But yeah, so it sounded like you're talking about the shield breaker there on Valkyrie.
Yeah,
it's,
makes sense.
A lot of physical presence, that level 3 of it. So, Asuka, I like. Chola Simon was a nice name too, but I kind of like the fact that he changed to Asuka. It's just fun to say.
I think that's his actual name. I think.
Oh well, that would make sense.
I think so. Yeah. But it's a lot easier to say than Cholo Simeon, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. A little more simple. Geometer's banned on a Gemini, of course, so has a little bit more utility there. And against a hero like Dark Lady is constantly playing the science and whatnot. That could be good in those cases there. To have that split up now, of course, his ultimate allows him to do that. But another way to do it is never a bad thing either. And of course, Geometer's banned just solid item on him in general too. So.
It's really, really needed against the Dark Blades from Dark Lady. He needs a way to get out of the silence, and the Geos is going to provide that with him.
Yeah. So, you got, again, 11.5 thousand gold lead right now, nearly a 17,000 experience lead in favor of Nullstone right here. Ever since that Conqueror fight, going back to that, they've been in a pretty good spot. Haven't really had a big team fight since then. So that does go back to, once again, that if you are Mint here, that big Tempest ultimate and perhaps a fight going their way, especially with Gemini living and killing everyone, then by all means, it's still a game for them to take too. But Nullstone in the favorites. Now this could help things right here. Valkyrie at the top lane, a lot of bursts coming out. And no, protected Melody Kinesis. Okay, that's what he was waiting for. Well played by Serenio right there. He was waiting for that ultimate to come out. Now Tempest in the meantime, he gets gone on though, and he will get bursted down. His teammates couldn't do much, so they just basically say, we love you, but we're going to let you fall right here. And for good reason. But, yeah, great patience by Serenia, definitely.
Definitely.
Before you let that burst go.
I still think actually Tempest might be a big of a threat or a bit of a bigger, more important hero than the Valkyrie at this stage. Then that's why Nullstone are pushing, particularly if Tempest doesn't have the element of void. They're definitely going to prioritize that. That's why they're pushing up here. But Provost is split pushing mid. It's going to at least force out of rotation from Midas. There is a TP on Parasite. I don't know if they're going to be able to kill him, or maybe they are, though.
Oh, there's the sheep stick again, and then locked on the transmute. Very well played by Fuzzy Sloth right there, waiting, not stacking the stuns on top of one another, and actually easy kill onto Gemini Zarizo. Yeah, he bought more than enough time for his team to come in and eventually set that up.
Repsy gave Dark Lady's TP. That's what I was, because Dark Lady didn't have TP, and I was like, I don't think they can kill him. But then Dark Lady came in, and I was like, all right, now they do. So, yeah, nice play from Resha, and that's why they drop it and give the Abyssal Skull back to Dark Lily. So yeah, just really nice team play actually. And with Proboss dead, he does have a buyback though, but they did delay. Tempest is now back up though, and they can buy back on Proboss. So although he died, it might be a little bit of a blessing in disguise actually.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of gold though if he is forced to buy back towards
Sure.
Obviously doing that, and sure. The fact that he has it is good, but at the same time, that means he's going to be even further away from his next ride, and maybe something like that Frosted Skull wouldn't be out of the question. But will they force it is the question here. I mean, 25 seconds to go. They are going to start pushing, and you figure they have to. Magnus Eruption goes up, but he got hit. The sheep stick comes out. Well played right there. Clutch indeed. And it's things like that where it's an obvious spot. We see a lot of Magnuses especially trying to line things up in an area like that. So if you're pushing the middle lane, checking it out, clearly they did, and they were able to stop him from getting the big initiation. And on top of that, as we saw, Probusk did buy back as well, so that worked out pretty well for Nullstone.
I guess they don't have to go because Proboss did buy back, for example. But I think with Eruption down, I think they should perhaps go. Like they've got Stronger Dead still on Dark Lady. He's got Wingbow now as well. So any kind of physical presence is not going to do barely anything, I don't think, because Gemini does not have the Savage Mace. But they're going to back off. Though I guess they thought Gemini bought back. That's good enough advantage for us. We're going to wait till tokens up or Congol's back up. So yeah, I guess it's the safe play to make. And I mean, when you're 14,000 gold ahead, I guess playing safe is the right way to go.
Well, Dark Lady, yeah, you're talking about it, man. Nearly 4,500 gold saved up now. This is what Dark Lady does. We saw it the other day in Flensmeister's hands for Sync Esports. I believe he finished with something like 820 gold per minute, which,
Yeah,
again, from what
ridiculous.
we didn't have Quincy with us, but I'm pretty sure that was the most that we had all season in Haunter Season 3. It was more than we had. So this hero is up there with, obviously, one of the stronger farmers in the game and just dominant late game carries for good reason. So happens to be another game nearby that we see it once again, so perhaps going to bring even more attention to this hero that has always been just a really solid go-to carry, to be honest. So, but
I have to admit, these.
yep.
I was going to say, these carry versus carry games, that to me, personally, they seem a lot more interesting than some of the other stuff we see.
Yeah.
The games, obviously, on Tuesday were insanely interesting to watch, but I guess because it's something maybe new and different that we're not used to seeing, but...
The battle of the illusions right here. You got Valk Illusion versus Gemini. Gemini easily winning that, but in the end it despawned, so not the biggest deal. Now, they're still going to try to scout things out with this Valkyrie Illusion, trying to maybe bait something out, almost as if Mint would forget, but obviously not going to be the case. However, it will free them up to do a little bit of Conqueror attempting here. Again, they're not necessarily spotted. This Fortisite does probably spotted them coming over the ramp right here to go into the pit. So I'm pretty sure Mint maybe has an idea that it's happening, although they're not 100% confident because they don't have vision in the pit. And that's an illusion middle lane. They baited out a bit, a couple of portal keys even. Valkyrie Prism going to be used. And Nullstone going to look for initiation. There's a transmute on Kinesis. In comes a Dark Lady cover Darkness as well. Kinesis, creep block coming out. And he eventually will be picked off. Gemini going back in, but no, realizing not the best opportunity. In the meantime, Sheepstick on the Dark Lady. Dark Lady taking some good burst, though. Nice job with the Storm Spirit, though. Going to be farming. Now the tab is all the minute. It's not going to be stopped. Parasite jumped into it. Here's a chance right here. Predictability in the background, though. But they know they won't get any kills. It's a cleanup right there for Nullstone.
Oh, my God.
Oh, the Tempest Ultimate. That was a huge chance. That was it. But no, it wasn't able to happen. And GG, well played.
Man, again, though, the only reason why that team fight went so well, though, is because the Storm Spirit from Fuzzy Sloth there. Darkly jumped in, didn't pop his strong on it. They used Sheepstick on him. They nearly had the burster to jump him down, but again, Fuzzy Sloth with the clutch plays, again, used the Storm Spirit on Boomerbanger, and although Tempest Ultimate did catch Parasite, I mean, Dark Lady was still Storm Spirited while he was Tempest Ultimate. When he came back down, he just wrecked Face Breaky. But, yeah, I mean, my MVP definitely goes to Fuzzy Sloth. Not only for that play there, but just in general, bounced back very well from the laning phase and just had some really clutch plays.
Yeah, he had a hell of a game, no doubt. I mean, finished with 477 gold per minute, as you see right there on that middle Midas. So very impressive performance. Obviously, Beaver Banger, 650 GPM, just about. Very good game for him as well. Again, a team effort there for Nullstone. It just started out good for Mint, but it just started to go the other way in favor of Nullstone, and they didn't look back once they gained the lead, basically.